Turn up, let's go.
What is up, you guys? I'm Charmx. Today I'm gonna be reacting to Game Theory: How PewDiePie Lost YouTube to T-Series by the Game Theorist. Now, I'm actually really interested in this because it is crazy seeing how fast like T-Series is growing in rate compared to PewDiePie, and T-Series is actually supposedly going to overtake PewDiePie. Was it like next month they said or something? I don't know, something like that, but it's really soon. And it's gonna be interesting to see, you know, why that is happening and what, you know, MatPat's gonna say in this. However, I don't think PewDiePie fully agrees with this because he did leave a comment on this video and it's pinned by the Game Theorist, and it's basically PewDiePie saying MatPat missed some of PewDiePie's points. So, it's gonna be interesting. Anyway, with that being said, the original link's in the description. Make sure you guys go subscribe to the Game Theorist. Without any further ado, let's begin.
Gather round, all you bros and non-bros, as I tell you the story of how PewDiePie got dethroned from the #1 most subscribed spot on YouTube.
Ah! Woo! I'm sorry. Bum, bum, ba-da, bum. Is that a new intro? Kind of.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that, I've heard through the grapevine, gets passed around by YouTube employees whenever I do a meta theory about how the platform works. So,
really? Does that happen? I wouldn't be surprised, actually. I would not be surprised at all, actually. Matt's a freaking massive channel. Everyone at YouTube mostly should be aware of who he is, so yeah, I don't doubt it.
So, hey guys, good to see you again. Sorry you missed out on the ending of the FNAF franchise, but that's okay. Hey, by the way, thanks for watching your own platform and your creators. But now, guys, I need to talk to, you know, everyone. You know who else apparently sees these episodes? Other YouTubers, when I do episodes that talk about them at least. Hey, I don't blame them for skipping all the other episodes about FNAF and Luigi's Ding Dong. Doesn't speak to their interests. Anyway, in the spotlight today,
hey, speak for yourself.
is PewDiePie. Again, for what honestly may be the very last time. I can hear a Swedish accented sigh of relief coming from across the ocean. But seriously, I am a huge believer in PewDiePie, even if I sometimes don't agree with how he delivers his jokes. Felix is one of the smartest creators on this platform, in a way that the media doesn't really give him credit for, evolving himself and his brand no less than 3 times over the course of his career, away from gaming before gaming on YouTube started to take a hit.
Although gaming on YouTube has taken a hit, I think I heard recently that, I think it was on Phil DeFranco's channel. Right now, gaming has like the highest viewership or something on YouTube, whereas it's like 300 million people watching gaming or something. Something like that. It's insane. So although it seems as if gaming has died, maybe in North America it's kind of, you know, faded. Because for the most part in North America, gaming channels and everything are, you know, so I don't know. It's weird.
Transitioned into comedian, commentator, reactor, voice of the platform, and eventually the destroyer of memes that he is today. And deviating from what your audience loves to watch you do is a huge challenge on YouTube, so to do it 3 times or more is really impressive.
It's very hard. It's very hard. I can vouch for that because, you know, I've kind of tried branching out and doing other things like reacting to Reddit videos and stuff like that. They do okay, but people don't seem to like them as much as other videos. And that's a small little change, which is nothing like what PewDiePie did, right? So I don't know how PewDiePie has been able to do it so many times and even grow bigger from it.
It's not an accident that he just passed his 5-year anniversary as the largest channel on the platform. But
5
it's
years.
also not an accident that this will be the final few weeks he's able to celebrate owning that title. You see, all good things must come to an end, and PewDiePie is about to hand over his YouTube most subscribed crown to a new channel hailing from India, T-Series. A channel that right now is gaining over 100,000 subscribers a day.
Excuse me, say what now?
Over 4 million subscribers per month.
5 mil on YouTube in 6 months. Never done.
Oh, roasted.
Sorry, Jake. Looks like you got punched in the face one too many times. Check your math. 23 million in 6 months, and you got yourself T-Series.
Wow.
That ain't never been done before. Anyway, it looks like T-Series should be passing PewDiePie in less than 2 months from when I'm writing this.
2 months. So was this video in the works of being made last month then? Because I heard it was supposed to be next month that T-Series overtakes.
and probably only a couple weeks after this video comes out, especially given that the more videos that draw attention to this massive transition, the faster it's gonna happen. But if that level of growth to you, 23 million subscribers in 6 months, seems weird, well, that's because it is. T-Series has some unusual things going for it. This transition—
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Freaking Stranger Things, but with T-Series as the monster.
is more than just a YouTube channel going from #2 most subscribed to #1. This is a statement on the global shift in power. So in this episode, I'm gonna show you how this channel is literally the perfect storm of a YouTube channel, and also indicative of this battle that's going on for the future of online culture. And when I'm done, the fact that T-Series is taking over YouTube won't just be surprising, it'll seem almost inevitable.
What's with the epic music, Matt?
Here's what I mean. To start off with, the first factor is kinda obvious: lower competition. This is the argument I used way back in the day about how PewDiePie took over YouTube, and in the media coverage for T-Series, I've seen a lot of coverage that cites that theory. And sure,
That theory there, I think, is what PewDiePie doesn't agree with.
this is certainly a part of it. T-Series is a big fish in a small creator pond in a massive audience ocean that is India.
Now, I think that's true. That, you know, there aren't that many Indian YouTube creators. I mean, there are some, but, you know, definitely not that many compared to North America, where there are a lot more YouTube creators, right? But T-Series seems to have, like, the majority of the market of India, if that makes sense.
Where YouTube has 225 million monthly users. T-Series is one of only a small handful of channels that are professionally produced, and no one is going to be able to touch them when it comes to content quality and sheer number of uploads they're doing. It means that when you start a new YouTube account in India, what you're seeing first and foremost on the homepage is, you guessed it, T-Series. Recommended videos, recommended channels to subscribe to for each and every new Indian YouTube account that's made there.
So when you create a YouTube account over there, it's legit recommended to you. So you're like, yeah, well, might as well subscribe. This seems interesting. That's crazy. And because they are so big, obviously they're going to be recommended. They've cornered the market.
T-Series is front and center, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. Next, T-Series is primarily a music channel, which at first might not seem like that big of a deal until you look at the top 100 channels on YouTube.
Yeah, they're all friggin' music for the most part.
Notice something? As of the day I'm writing this script, 38 of the top 100 YouTube channels are music. It seems
Not all of them, I guess, but a lot of them.
insane when you think about all the other types of content that exist out there, but it also makes a ton of sense. Music is broadly appealing, it's global, it's international. You can listen to it no matter what age, race, or gender you are, and it's infinitely replayable. The point is that YouTube stands to make massive amounts of money from music channels. Oh yeah, and it's also been known to do a little creative math, shall we say, when it comes to subscribership of those channels.
They did what?
For instance, when Meghan Trainor established an official YouTube channel, YouTube funneled all the subscriptions from unofficial Meghan Trainor channels into the official channel, essentially auto-subscribing them to an official
They what? They made people subscribe to the channel even though they never click subscribe?
Trainor channel to make it look like she had a substantially larger presence on the platform. Except, of course, they did it all in one day, meaning that Meghan Trainor
8 million subscribers in one day? Is that real? Is this real or Photoshop? It's almost 9 million subscribers in one day. That has to be Photoshopped.
magically gained almost 9 million subscribers overnight. Oops. Now, do I
No, it wasn't.
going on with T-Series? Not necessarily. With less competition and a lot of super valuable music content at their disposal, so T-Series has less competition and is in a content category that YouTube really cares about right now. But that only helps them indirectly, except that they also get direct access to YouTube on top of that. Other people have pointed out that T-Series is a production company, which is 100% true, but almost no one has pointed out that they're also an MCN, or multi-channel network containing at least 10 channels, all of which are
They have their... Oh my goodness, that's crazy. So they have 10 channels as well? T-Series as a company or whatever, they must be worth like an insane amount of money. There's no way PewDiePie is gonna beat them. They will overtake the king. The king will be overthrown! Long live the king.
over 3 million subscribers. Being an MCN gives you a direct line to YouTube that most regular creators don't have the privilege of, since, you know, there's just way too many creators out there to make that sort of thing work. And that alone would be enough to ensure that T-Series is having a lot of success on YouTube, but not the levels of success that it's having on YouTube. So what if I told you that there's a lot more riding on T-Series being the #1 channel on YouTube than just bragging rights, and the rabid scrutiny of places like Vanity Fair, the BBC, and the Wall Street Journal? That's right.
I guess I can see that being an accurate statement, is that PewDiePie has had a lot of controversies, and I love PewDiePie, but he's had a lot of controversies, and he is the face of YouTube, right? So when people talk about YouTube, you know, I don't know if it's indirectly or whatever, but, you know, PewDiePie's obviously a main subject of it, because he is the top. But when someone like T-Series overtakes him, then T-Series becomes the face of YouTube. And T-Series, you know, they haven't had any controversies, at least yet. So them as the head or the face of YouTube would be a lot cleaner of a look than PewDiePie, if that makes sense, because, you know, T-Series doesn't have any controversies at the moment.
This is a much more significant moment than people realize for YouTube, for all of social media, and for international politics. Here's why. To understand why T-Series is going to be the #1 channel on the platform, we have to know a little bit more about the
Robbie Run.
And frankly, the state of the internet as a whole. There is a massive war going on the other side of the world from where you, the majority of game theory viewers in the US, are. The war for the internet in India. That's right. This is a real thing, and it's having massive implications for the future of media. And Google, the advertising behemoth who owns YouTube, is looking to win, but one big thing is standing in their way, and his name is Felix PewDiePie Schellberg. Think it sounds far-fetched? Think again. Internet penetration.
Is it actually Schellberg? I thought it was like Kjellberg or something, because it started with a K. I don't know.
In the US. Stop giggling. Internet penetration in the US, which is basically a measure of how many people are online, has slowed in the last couple years. It's still going up, but at this point we're pushing 90% of the people in the US who are on the internet. So it's like
I think a big reason why T-Series is also growing so much is that every day more and more people in India and that are actually getting the internet. So that's why the channel is also growing like an insane amount, because there's so many people without it that are now getting it.
Literally everyone except for my grandmother. That's actually not true. She actively watches the live streams. Anyway, practically everyone in America is online these days. India, though, isn't like that. At least not yet, but they're coming online fast with massive growth rates since 2011. It's the world's second biggest market and still has huge untapped potential for bringing people online.
If they ever find out about Despacito, they would probably prefer not being online.
Enter the big players of Facebook, Google, and Microsoft. As of April of this year, people in India use WhatsApp, a Facebook property, more than any other app, followed by Facebook Messenger, another Facebook property, which means Google, and by extension YouTube, have some catching up to do if they want to be competing for the hearts, minds, mobile data, and most importantly, online advertising space of the Indian nation. Right now, there are over 850 million people not online in India.
850 million people? That's over 2 times the amount of people that are in the United States. In India that don't have internet, there's 800 million. That's insane.
Who are viewed as up for grabs by these companies. Why? Well, it's important to remember what we think of as social media sites are all just really advertising sites when it comes down to it. YouTube is an advertising website where they show you cool videos that fuse pop culture and learning, hosted by a cringy yet endearing host who loves puns too much. Videos that you probably just want to subscribe to by ringing
Hashtag hint hint.
the bell. The reason why it's so important for YouTube and Facebook to be appealing to Indian internet users is because the bigger the user base for those apps, the bigger the advertising base they can tap into. And while YouTube is behind Facebook at the moment, if the top channel on YouTube is a native Indian creator, or at the very least features content created by native Indian creators, the site all of a sudden becomes a much more Indian-friendly platform, at least based on statistics.
And that would also increase the value of YouTube, because, you know, 800 million people that don't even have the internet. If those 800 million people get the internet, then, you know, they turn to YouTube. It's gonna make YouTube worth so much more money. If the people from India were to come to YouTube, that could easily double the amount of people, like active users.
And in all of the PR press coverage about YouTube. These companies are going after the Indian market so aggressively that Indian media is actually calling Google, Facebook, and Microsoft digital colonists.
Yeah, that's a little extreme, don't you think?
Because they're invading the country like actual Europeans did 200 years ago.
Wow.
And you might be asking yourself, what's wrong with getting Facebook and YouTube in India? Everyone should be able to watch Jeffree Star drive a hot pink Rolls Royce. I know, I get it. The thing is, it gets really complicated. To win over users, Google, Microsoft, and Facebook are offering stuff like free internet or free data with stuff like Facebook's free basics program.
They offer free internet? Are you kidding? Why can't I have that?
to help rural India come online years and sometimes even decades before the country's own infrastructure would be able to support it. This allows...
Oh, so them doing that, that's actually really smart. I never thought of that. So now that Facebook allows you to, you know, they give you free internet or whatever, it basically makes it so that you have to go on their services and whatnot, right?
Allows a lot of great things to happen, allowing kids to get a better education, and all of those are incredible. However, it's also a power move for these companies who know that if the population starts using their products, they'll be hooked on them for years, allowing companies like to recoup their investment and, more importantly, keep their competitors like Google from getting there first.
The early bird gets the internet user.
The other thing that most people don't realize is that big businesses influence everything, including politics. And that's where people are starting to get really nervous. In India, fake news is everywhere. And worse yet, what people really don't realize is that companies like Facebook work directly with candidates or elected officials in order to help them build their social media presence. So the line between educating a public figure about social media and helping a political campaign can start to get really blurry really fast.
Man, if you didn't think things were complicated before, you know, in a couple of years, things could be a lot more complicated.
For instance, quote, in India, the company Facebook helped develop the online presence of Prime Minister Modi, who now has more Facebook followers than any other world leader.
Does that say 40?
Working directly with the
43 million people like that. Wow.
Platform makes a huge difference. And doing favors for big world leaders also puts these huge companies in a good position to negotiate when it comes to laws that help them. There is huge money and influence to be had from any social media company who can embed themselves in a country. And in this case, the country on everyone's mind is India. In order to get that money and power, though, Google needs to start ingratiating itself to the users of India, which means Google Plus. Just kidding, it's YouTube. But in order to do that, they need to
Google Plus? We all know how that went over.
Make YouTube a priority in India. Or rather, they need to make Indian YouTube a priority in India. Back in 2014, YouTube started India Fan Fest, where they brought creators from around the world to a major city in India. In 2017, it was Mumbai, to talk, perform, and meet fans on the ground. It seemed like a weird move, given that in 2014, India only had 16 channels over 1 million subscribers.
16? That's like the beginning of YouTube right there. 16 channels with 1 million subscribers. That's like 10 years ago in North America.
But FanFest wasn't meant to serve a huge fan base at the time, it was meant to grow one. Events like FanFest made it clear that YouTube cared about Indian creators, but more importantly, it cared about inspiring Indian viewers to watch and Indian creators to develop and grow their own audiences in the country. As a result, India now has 5 channels in the top 100 most subscribed on YouTube and 12 channels out of the top 100 in the most viewed category.
Yeah, so they've really caught up. They've really caught up. But if YouTube wants to grow even faster, they should kind of do what Facebook's doing by providing free internet and whatnot. And if there's 800 million people without internet, that's a huge untapped market. So just going over there and planting some internet towers or whatever that could reach tons of people and bring them all to YouTube, I think that would be a good idea. But then again, I'm an idiot, so who knows? Who knows?
And at this point, I'm sure you're saying, okay, great, everyone wants viewers in India, but what does that have to do with T-Series? Now, this is all important because in the race for internet users in India, T-Series represents exactly what YouTube wants in this system. It's a channel that does music, behaves professionally because it's a production company, produces a ton of content that's brand friendly, and is honestly a fantastic symbol of this entire battle for the internet. It sends a clear message to viewers in India about YouTube. YouTube is a home for you. It's a place where Indian content creators not only...
Yeah, that's what I was saying. T-Series doesn't have a bunch of controversy surrounding it. T-Series is a, professional company or whatnot. It's not an individual person. So it would make sense why they would want, T-Series to be the most subscribed channel.
Only succeed, but also dominate. You should be watching YouTube because it's not just cool videos, it's cool Indian videos that you yourself can make and consume. So after all of that, you can see how the rapid rise of T-Series isn't a matter of luck, and it is certainly no coincidence. So yeah, Felix, this might not be a train that you can stop.
And if you think of it, like, this is a kind of a side note, but, 800 million people without internet. That's like North America, way back when internet wasn't a thing. So, way back when that internet wasn't a thing, you would get your news from your local newspaper or whatever, right? Or television. But when, you know, those 800 million people get online, then they can start getting opinions other than their local newspaper or, you know, their local television station or whatever, right? So it'll be really interesting to see what happens when that does happen. I don't know. That's just a thought.
But in all seriousness, if you think I credited your success to some outside factors, they would have literally been nothing compared to the advantages that T-Series currently has here. PewDiePie, not only the longest to hold the title, but the last. Unless all you theorists rally together and get game theory up there, subscribe button's down below, you know where to click it. If you're in India, spread the good word. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm off to learn Hindi. But wait, actually, I need to address a bit of drama that headed my way in context of this episode. Felix, I get that the...
Oh yeah, this is where PewDiePie and him have a disagreement. Oh boy, now we get into the drama, folks. Now we get into the spicy stuff. The spicy stuff.
Video I did on you 5 years ago bothers you.
I still hate it, and I think he should delete it.
You think that I pegged all of your success on your status as an international channel, or that you somehow circumvented the system. The thing is, at the same time I made that video, I was actively working in YouTube analytics.
Hashtag humble brag.
Not at YouTube, but as a consultant for some of the biggest channels on the platform. And I saw the effects of being a successful international channel. I saw it in the data time and time again. English-speaking international channels would cross over into the US very easily. But US channels trying to cross outward into a different country had to hit a certain threshold of views in that country before something in the data just flipped like a switch, and then suddenly views started to pour in from that new part of the world.
Alright, so this is like a side note, but I mean, that's the same with most channels. Like, most channels, when they start off with, you know, they won't get many views and whatnot. And it's only after a while, once they've built up a bit of a following, that their videos are recommended. And once they're in recommended, that's when the views and everything start pouring in. Because most YouTubers get a lot of, you know, their views and whatnot from recommended. So I really don't think it matters where you live. I think it's just, once you get a certain amount of viewers in a certain area, that is what will cause your videos to be recommended in said area.
They did that by setting their channel's official country codes other than the US, where there was less competition to get onto the home pages. But here's the thing.
Wakanda?
If indeed this technique worked, which you seem to acknowledge,
It annoys me because I was so frustrated by this back in 2013.
then wouldn't you, by moving between countries while still uploading, whether you intended it or not, wouldn't it also work for you? You being an English-speaking channel whose channel country was set to Sweden and was uploading from multiple different European countries. Whether it was intentional or not, you somehow benefited from the same system. You literally confirm my theory in your video critiquing my theory. But
Oh snap, this is getting heated, this is getting heated.
here's what I will say, because again, I like you and I respect you. I don't want to be a negative force in the YouTube community, and I don't want to belittle what you yourself have done. So here's what I'll say. I've worked with a lot of channels over the last few years, literally hundreds of channels since I first did that video about you. So if you do want to clear the books and potentially refute that theory that I did back in 2013, heck, let's do it. Hit me up on Twitter and let us figure out a way where you can share your channel's viewership data with me so I can see your analytics.
I would love to see, you know, what comes of this, because I don't know, it'd be interesting to see if MatPat was wrong. And I do want to read PewDiePie's points that are in the comments.
Because the thing is, if I'm not right, then your data is going to be really interesting. And frankly, I would be learning something cool about your channel and about how YouTube worked in 2013, and I'm sure it's a story that a lot of people would be interested in.
Alright, so I am going to end the video there, but this is what PewDiePie said, and Matt has actually pinned this comment. Matt, I like you too, but you somehow missed my points here. I don't doubt that your theory is correct. In fact, I know it's not impossible. Yes, you can benefit from moving country. But what I said in my video was that my channel didn't. At least not in the way you describe. 1, I was never featured in Italy. They mostly didn't feature English-speaking channels. So although PewDiePie lived in Italy, he wasn't featured in it because he spoke English. That's kind of like Roman, or NFKRZ, who's a Russian YouTuber, but he's really big in English-speaking countries, and no one from Russia really watches him because he speaks English. I guess that kind of works that way. 2, PewDiePie says that he was suppressed in Sweden because of people from America abusing the system. And 3, when I moved to UK, my channel was already growing big. So I guess at that point, it would just keep going and it doesn't really matter where you're living. Now, I'm not really sure who to believe, because I think Matt does know what he's talking about a lot when it comes to statistics and whatnot. But this is going to be one of my longest videos ever. I've just realized that. But PewDiePie is right in saying that, you know, if you're English speaking in a country that doesn't speak English, you aren't going to be pushed there. That's because NFKRZ is from Russia, but he's not big in Russia because he speaks English. He's, like, recommended and whatnot. His views come from North America. So saying that he wasn't featured in Italy, I think that's believable. So I think PewDiePie does have a point there. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for this video. This is gonna be a very long reaction. I hope you guys did like it. If you made it to the end, I just want to know how many people made it to the end. Leave a comment and say, lots of spaghetti. You know, that stupid Luigi thing? Lots of spaghetti! Anyway, with that being said, if you like this, give it a thumbs up, possibly share with a friend. If you're new, subscribe and join the family. I'll see you guys next time. Boop!